Welcome to the first ever on-campus Climate Emergency Day of Action organized by the University of Bristol. In 2021, the University of Bristol organized the first ever chapter of Climate Emergency Day of Action online. However, this year, the university is bringing all its events on campus itself. There's a plethora of events lined up, starting with speaker sessions, a marketplace, an art exhibit, and even a plogging drive. What is a plogging drive, you ask? Come, let's find out. For the viewers who are still new to this concept, can you explain what exactly plogging is all about?
Yeah. So plogging is all about litter picking, but there's a simple twist in this. You pick up litter while jogging. So it's a combination of these two ideas where you go jogging and simultaneously pick up the litter. And this is an idea that started in Sweden. So it's been like since 2016 people have been plogging across the globe, and we are plogging in the Bristol.
All right. Today is the Climate Emergency Day of Action and there's a plogging drive organized by the university. So what is the plan of action today?
So today we will be plogging across two routes in the campus. So the target for the day is to pick up as much as litter possible and try to raise awareness about why litter picking is important, why individual actions matter. And for the rest of the day, there are a lot of events which have been organized by the university, by the sustainability team, and by a lot of student societies and the Bristol SU. So trying to involve people and spread the word of climate action and talk about the emergency we have because of climate change.
So it's all about individual actions culminating into collective action, right?
Yeah, we need to inform policy decisions. For that, we need people who are aware of the problems. And me being a student of environmental policy, I always say that if people are not really aware of what's really happening around them and what is the crux of the issue, what's the seriousness, we have to help people know that. And that's why we are talking about everything. The more we discuss about these issues, the more we will be able to spread the word and make people aware and alert about what's happening. And end of the day, it again boils down to individual action because all of us together form a community. So we'll be leading towards that.
Right. Thank you, Vivek. We hope you succeed in your campaign.
Sure. Thank you.
Joining us here today is Tom Heap, a regular presenter of BBC Countryfile and BBC Radio 4. He's here to talk about 39 ways to save the planet without breaking the bank or sending us back to the Stone Age. Initially conceptualized as a podcast, it is now releasing in the form of a book. Let's go and check it out.
Look, and this is partly just a typical media thing of bad news catches the headlines. Also, bad news tends to happen in headlines. I didn't think I could get that many episodes past Radio 4. So we went for 40. I went originally for 40 because I thought.
So I know the main reason we didn't use it in our crops was because we were in the EU, and obviously now we've left.
Yeah, understood. Could you please tell us a little more about your book, please?
Yeah, so the book, 39 Ways to Save the Planet, is about climate change solutions. And these are things that are already being done by scientists, by teachers, by lawyers, by economists, by farmers, who are showing that there are some really potent solutions out there that need to be grown and need to be expanded. And some of them are a little bit more if you like, on the lab bench, and others are things that are there that we need to get behind and grow. So, for instance, I've got things like solar, but it's about floating solar. I've got things about offshore wind, but it's about robots that will make the operation of them cheaper and therefore deploy more of them.
Right. Well, this is a bit of a journalistic cliche, but if, regardless of which part of the world we come from, what is the one thing that each one of us can do to save the planet?
Well, what each one of us can do is quite a tricky one, really. I mean, I would say that what you can do as an individual is to really be aware of this kind of stuff and think in every aspect of your life. Is there something I could be doing which would mean I use less energy, mean I use less product, means I use the same product again?
Right.
But I think perhaps more importantly is urging that when it comes to energy generation, we take the carbon out of that in every way that we can. And so the personal advocacy you also have is about how you spend your money, how you shop, how you travel, how you vote, and how you invest, and all those kind of things as well.
All right. Thank you, Tom. It's been
Thank
a
you.
pleasure. Art can be a powerful visual tool to express the conversations taking place around climate change today. The Cabot Institute for the Environment has created works of art inspired by the changing conversations on climate change and research on the issue by collaborating with Bristol-based artists. Let us see what they have created today. Could you tell us, how does art as a medium of expression help in furthering conversations about climate change?
Yeah, I think art is a great way to make the conversation more accessible. I think a lot of the time the conversation about climate change can feel quite, I guess, gearing towards academic conversations, so there needs to be access to that kind of language, whereas I think visual art can break down those barriers and make the conversation more accessible to people who maybe don't have access to the type of academic language used.
Right. That's great. Could you explain the meaning behind your work of art?
Yeah, so my piece was about the Himalayas. The conversation was about documenting, or rather researching, geographical, I think this is right, sorry.
That's all right.
The geographical history of the land and collecting historical oral history from local people and how that merges together and how the earthquakes, historical events have, I guess, shaped the landscape and the layers and all that comes with that. So that's kind of like what I try to bring through in the work. And I'm a digital artist, so it was fun to, I guess, have that influence my work, and then I really wanted to bring it out into real life, if that makes sense. So my process started off as digital. I then printed the work out and tore it into it to create like a layered effect, which I think really spoke to how the researchers gathered information and pieced it together to create a story.
Right. Thank you so much, Paris. It was lovely chatting with you. What role do you think art can play in raising awareness about climate change and furthering conversations at the wider level?
I think art has a really unique way of expressing the emotion behind climate change. We've got, doctors and scientists and all the cleverest people in the world talking about statistics, which in itself is alarming, but sometimes it doesn't speak to the heart like art can. So I think with creative explanations, the urgencies can be put into pictures. They say a picture can paint 1,000 words, so I think art has a really great place in this conversation.
What was the idea that went behind partnering with local artists, and how does this promote conversations about sustainability at a wider level?
Yeah, thank you. I think we're really facing some incredible challenges around our environment and our climate. We have a really diverse range of academics that work with us and partners. And this is a really exciting way to work and interpret some of the research and knowledge that our academics and scholars have at the University of Bristol, and working with partners as well. So for us it was a really exciting journey to see those conversations interpreted in very different ways and allow the artists to hear those conversations, and really exciting result for us.
Absolutely. And what is the general mission of the Cabot Institute for the Environment in furthering the fight against climate change?
Yeah, we are really united by a common cause, which is protecting our environment and finding better ways to live in our changing planet. So that's what unites us. We bring together a range of disciplines across the university to help solve some of those complex challenges, from thinking about net zero to the climate emergency to food security in our future world. So it's very much about research and working in partners to think about the evidence-based and some of the solutions that we can take out into the real world. It's about how do we create impact against this global challenge that we're facing today.
Right. Thank you so much, Sophie. It was lovely chatting with you.
Thank you.
Supporting local business and shopping sustainably is one of the top parameters in supporting the fight against climate change. To this end, the University of Bristol, partnering with Bristol Students' Union and Pocket Market, have organized the Marketplace, a place where you can buy locally made food, clothing, jewelry, and much more. Come, let's go and check it out. So today we are here with Simone today, who's the Hedgehog Friendly Campus Champion, and let's ask her about what this initiative is all about. So Simone, could you please tell us about the Hedgehog Friendly Campus campaign?
Okay, the Hedgehog Friendly Campus campaign is a campaign that we run for staff and students to get involved in, and it helps to raise awareness about hedgehog conservation and all the things that we can do on campus and in our community to help make, I guess, our environment better and safer for hedgehogs, to try and save hedgehogs. Hedgehogs are a threatened species. They're now on the red endangered list, so we really need to do what we can to save them so that we don't lose them forever. So on campus we do things like we're surveying to find out. We've got a survey tunnel right down the end here to try and find out where our hedgehog populations are. We loan those out into the community as well, so that community can also use the tunnels for surveying to find out more about their hedgehog populations. We teach people how to rescue and give rescue advice, and we've got a rescue box here with all the things inside that you need for rescuing hedgehogs. We also build houses, and this is a really great example of one of the types of houses you can build. But students have built about 5 hedgehog houses on campus. We also are getting hedgehog highway holes put in our fences and walls across campus so that hedgehogs can travel freely within the campus and try and keep them off the roads. Going onto the roads is a really big threat to hedgehogs, and lots of hedgehogs are killed on roads every year. We also run litter picking events, and it's been great to be involved with Vivek and the ploggers today, because they've gone out across campus and across Bristol picking up litter. Litter is a really serious threat to hedgehogs as well, and causes a great deal of harm to both them physically but also to the environment and the soil and the microbiology in soil, with microplastics that are escaping into that environment.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Simone. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you
and
very
good luck
much.
on your initiative.
Thank you very much.
University of Bristol also played host to Carla Denyer, Bristol City Councillor and member of the Green Party, who spoke at a panel event moderated by Bristol Students' Union officer Ruth Day. In her tightly packed schedule of an active politician, we were fortunate to be able to catch hold of Carla for a quick interview. In the wake of the COP26 conference, what do you think needs to be done at the local and the national government level to mitigate the scourge of climate change?
So the outcome of the COP26 climate negotiations were very disappointing. There were a few positives, but nothing that gives me much confidence that we're on track for keeping global warming to 1.5 degrees anymore, unfortunately. But although that's really dispiriting, I don't think that we need to lose hope entirely, because we don't have to wait for the next international agreements. there is plenty that national and local government can do. And some other local governments in the world are already leading on this. So, for example, one of the side agreements that happened around COP was the Beyond Oil and Gas Alliance, which was set up by Costa Rica and Denmark, and that's something that I would love to see the UK government join in order to really put itself on a trajectory to get off oil and gas as quickly as possible. And with the cost of living crisis that we're seeing now and the war in Ukraine, there are lots of different reasons to get our society off its addiction with fossil fuels.
The University of Bristol has organized a one-of-a-kind event in the university for the first time, which is Climate Emergency Day of Action. How do you think this furthers the fight against climate change and helps spreading awareness?
Well, I think this event looks really good. I'm glad it's happening and glad I have the opportunity to contribute. The idea of a climate emergency is recognising that we cannot go on as we are and that something must change. And that's why I proposed the first climate emergency declaration anywhere in Europe here in Bristol at Bristol City Council in 2018. And it was that motion which kicked off a tidal wave, I guess, of declarations across Europe and the world. Mine wasn't quite the first in the world, though. I was inspired by a couple in Australia and the US before.
Right.
But yeah, University of Bristol followed our lead and made its own declaration a few months after Bristol City Council did, and has committed to make its own, reduce its carbon emissions to zero by 2030, which is the same as the council's target, which is really ambitious, but it's what the science demands.
Right.
But my frustration as an elected city councillor here in Bristol is that the council hasn't done as much as I think it should have done in terms of engaging with the public about why it declared a climate emergency, what it's going to do about it, and what people can do about it. Because individual behaviour change isn't enough on its own. We need system change and policies as well. But it is still important to empower people to know what they can do. And so I think events like this at the university are really helpful for engaging with students here about what they can do in terms of individual behaviour change and pushing for system change through activism or through politics.
Right. Thank you so much, Carla. It was lovely chatting with you.
Yeah, no worries.
As Carla Denier put it, the University of Bristol's announcement of the Climate Emergency Day of Action comes close to the Bristol City Council's announcement of climate change as an emergency. We as a society have a long way to go in the fight against climate change. However, events such as the University of Bristol's Climate Emergency Day of Action helps us raise awareness about the issue at hand so that we as a society can grow as a responsible and sustainable community.